Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Toyota Kirloskar Motor, I, Sanchali Arora, extend a very warm and cordial welcome, first and foremost, of course, to our honorable ministers on the dais, respected dignitaries, esteemed guests, and of course, our friends from media for this special event right here today. Toyota announced the Toyota Environmental Challenge 2050 in the year 2015 in order to address global environmental issues such as climate change, water shortages, resource depletion, and loss of biodiversity. Toyota is promoting measures based on these 6 challenges, aiming to reduce the negative environmental impacts of manufacturing and driving vehicles as close to zero as possible, and to make net positive impacts on the society. Toyota's new Vehicle Zero CO2 Emissions Challenge aims to reduce the CO2 emissions from Toyota vehicles by 90% in the year 2050, compared to the levels in 2010. Hydrogen and FCEV is one technology option to help achieve this goal, and we have gathered here today to mark the launch of the futuristic Toyota Mirai FCEV pilot project along with the government automotive testing agency, ICAT. Well, with that short overview, on behalf of the Toyota family, may I please request Toyota's Managing Director, Shri Masakazu Yoshimura, to kindly welcome the Honorable Ministers on stage. Well, in line with Toyota's continued focus on sustainability, we would like to present green potted plants as a token of our gratitude. Starting with the Honorable Minister of Road Transport and Highways, Shri Nitin Gadkari ji. Ladies and gentlemen, we request you to put your hands together wherever there is an opportunity. Thank you very much, sir. The Honorable Union Minister of Heavy Industries, Dr. Mahendra Nath Pandey ji. Thank you, sir. Honorable Union Minister of Power and New and Renewable Energy, Shri R.K. Singh ji. Honorable Union Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas and Minister of Housing and Urban Affairs, Shri Hardeep Singh Puri ji. Thank you very much, Yoshimura ji. I will now kindly request Shri Vikram Gulati ji, Executive Vice President and Country Head, to kindly welcome our other senior dignitaries gracing this occasion. Shri Arun Goyal ji, Secretary, Department of Heavy Industry. So we will be doing the facilitations a little later. Sir, we'll request you to kindly do the honors. Should we start the finished. May I please welcome Shri Vikram Gulati ji on stage for the opening remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, amongst a round of applause from everyone, please.
Honorable Union Ministers, esteemed senior officials of Government of India, dignitaries, members of the media fraternity, and distinguished guests. At the outset, let me welcome you and a very good afternoon. Today we are here on the launch of the Mirai pilot project. As we know, climate change is there before us. All of us are aware. We need to take fast and quick measures to counteract the emission of greenhouse gases. Green hydrogen is going to be one of the main key energy pathways which is going to enable us in this direction. India has been fortunate that with the strong support from the government, we've had very good results with renewable energy. Going forward, green hydrogen is going to play a key role in that direction. Of course, all stakeholders will have to collaborate strongly, work together to make this new energy pathway a success, and today is a small step in this direction. Without taking any much more time, I would just like to welcome you again, and we'll play a very brief 2-minute video to just show you the details about hydrogen and hydrogen society in future. Thank you.
Hydrogen. It powers the universe. It is the most abundant energy source. Even the energy that we get from the sun is from hydrogen. It is clean, it is efficient, it's eco-friendly, and it's safe. Technological breakthroughs are powering its versatility in terms of generation, storage, and usage. Its presence in rivers and oceans as water makes it abundantly accessible. Its obtainability from biomass and sewage sludge makes it easily generatable. Furthermore, wind and solar energy powering its production makes it extremely renewable. It has high energy density, can be easily stored for a long period of time without significant losses. This feature reduces the need for it to be consumed immediately and requires much less space than any other energy source. The easy conversion of hydrogen to electricity makes it a super energy source to run the entire ecosystem that includes cars, trucks, buses, trains, industries, and domestic use too. No wonder most countries globally are undertaking huge investments in its R&D and infrastructure. Japan, USA, Europe, Korea, China are going big on this technology. Hydrogen in India is destined for epic success. It is in line with India's energy strategy as it will help in reducing our fiscal deficit and has positive geopolitical implications. It will be a huge boost to our nation's pledge to Atmanirbhar Bharat.
Thank you very much. Shri Vikram Kirloskarji, Vice Chairman of Toyota Kirloskar Motor Private Limited, has also been the past President of Industry Associations SIAM and CII. He also headed the testing agency ARAI. May I request Shri Kirloskarji to address the esteemed audience on this special occasion. Sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon. At the outset, I would like to express my heartfelt thank you to the Honorable Ministers, senior officials of Government of India, media, and all the distinguished guests present with us today on this momentous occasion. The world is going through an energy transition fueled by concerns on the impact of human activity on the environment, climate change, energy security, and geopolitical issues. We are fortunate that our government has been proactive and is placing utmost importance in addressing these concerns. The Honorable Prime Minister has set a vision for us to achieve Atmanirbhar Bharat in energy by 2047 and is also leading the global fight against climate change. This will necessitate adoption of various alternative energy pathways. Green hydrogen promises to be one such clean energy option in India for many energy-intensive sectors and applications. Green hydrogen presents the possibility for India to realize its huge renewable energy potential, be a net energy surplus exporting nation, and achieve greener economic growth and development without posing adverse impact on the planet. The Toyota Mirai, one of the world's first fuel cell electric vehicles, is an embodiment for the hydrogen society of the future and symbolizes the huge potential for this cleaner energy pathway. Fuel cell electric vehicles belongs to the family of electrified vehicle technologies that include battery electric vehicles and strong hybrid electric vehicles. And all these technologies are complementary as they have a common electric powertrain part consisting of advanced motors, batteries, and power electronics. The fuel cell stack, which is at the heart of FCEVs, can have a large number of stationary uses that include energy storage for renewable energy, and power backup for malls, homes, tele-towers, as well as for multiple mobility applications, especially for larger format, long-distance mobility needs, as is in the case of ships, trains, lorries, buses, cars, forklift, and even the moon rover as space applications. Today is a remarkable day to reiterate Toyota's global commitment to carbon neutrality by 2050, that we announced in 2015 and moving towards net carbon zero in manufacturing operations by 2035. I'm proud to share that TKM has made tremendous progress in this direction and we are using 100% renewable energy for our grid electricity needs in our plant in Karnataka. Towards achieving carbon neutrality, Toyota believes in a realistic, sustainable, and practical approach via multiple pathways based on the principles of mobility for all and leave no one behind. Through this approach, we are fully committed to do our best for meeting India's national objectives, including CO2 reduction, oil import reduction, and supporting the economic transition. Needless to mention that in this journey, it is very important to collaborate strongly with various stakeholders. For this, we are carrying out the pilot project with the second generation Mirai in collaboration with ICAT, the premier government automotive testing and homologation agency. We also thank IOCL, who will provide the refueling infrastructure for the Mirai. We are very grateful to the Government of India for their great encouragement and strong support, giving tremendous boost to all the stakeholders who are beginning to work towards a hydrogen-based society. We are confident that India can lead in this direction in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. We would now like to give you a glimpse of the Toyota Mirai FCEV pilot project with ICAT through an audiovisual. Can we have the video, please?
The Honorable PM's vision for achieving energy Atmanirbharta by the year 2047 assumes special significance given the fact that he is also the global face leading the fight against climate change. This situation demands that one of the crucial pathways for a slew of India's energy-intensive sectors and applications is green hydrogen. Green hydrogen is also central to fulfilling India's commitments under the COP26 Paris Climate Agreement of carbon intensity reduction to less than 45% by 2030 and to achieve net zero emissions by 2070. The Honorable Minister of Road Transport and Highways, Shri Nitin Gadkari ji, has been one of the chief architects and pioneers of this groundbreaking thought process that encourages alternative fuel usage and propagation. As India has surplus of renewable energy and biomass, producing green hydrogen maximizes their usage. The Honorable Prime Minister's vision of India becoming energy independent gets a well-paved pathway through this innovative mode for production of green hydrogen suitable for India. The way the world travels in the coming years is going to change dramatically. Transport driven by green hydrogen is the emerging technology option. Bigger cars, buses, trucks, ships and trains will all be power-driven by green hydrogen. Medium to long distance traveling will be hugely facilitated with this radical change. One of the best zero-emission solutions powered by hydrogen is the fuel cell electric vehicle. The FCEV is particularly useful for hard-to-abate segments and for the long term. These FCEVs are fueled-propelled by pure hydrogen gas stored in tanks on the vehicle. A total of 3 to 5 minutes is taken for the hydrogen fuel fill-up exactly on the lines taken to fill gasoline or diesel at a filling station. Hydrogen is stored in high-pressure tanks and is transferred into fuel cell stack to generate electricity created by the reaction between hydrogen and oxygen found in the air. Remarkably enough, there is no tailpipe emission other than water during the journey. One of the world's first hydrogen fuel cell electric vehicle was the Toyota Mirai. In Japanese, the word Mirai means future. While the first generation Mirai was introduced in 2014, the second generation Mirai was launched in December 2020. With a 5-minute fueling time, the Mirai can travel 650 kilometers. 18,000 Toyota Mirai have been sold by December 2021. A pilot project conducted by Toyota Kirloskar Motor Private Limited and the International Center for Automotive Technology to gain deeper insights and evaluate the world's most advanced fuel cell electric vehicle is being conducted. Given the fact that the FCEVs run on hydrogen, the project will gauge the vehicle's sustainability on Indian roads given its climatic conditions. The study is a confluence in sync with the visionary thinking of the Honorable Prime Minister's idea of reaching energy independence and the somber commitment of Toyota towards promoting sustainability by pioneering the use of a series of innovative pathways to facilitate the shift from fossil fuel energy toward environment conservation. The project is the first of its kind and is an attempt at making the general Indian public aware of the hydrogen FCEV technology and the array of benefits a hydrogen-based society offers to India. The Honorable Minister of Road Transport and Highways, Shri Nitin Gadkari ji, would be doing the honours of inaugurating this pilot project and also offering a demonstration of the Toyota Mirai FCEV.
Thank you very much. May I now request Shri Dinesh Tyagi ji, Director ICAT, and Shri Sudeep Dalvi ji, Senior Vice President, Chief Communication Officer and Director for Toyota, for the official MOU exchange for this pilot project. Ladies and gentlemen, a very important and a valuable moment this is. If we can please put our hands together for it. Thank you very much, Shri Tyagi ji and Shri Dalvi ji. Well, under the Honorable Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas and Minister of Housing and Urban Affairs in India, Shri Hardeep Singh Puri ji's leadership, India has unleashed... Sir, please.
हरदीप जी को जाना इसलिए उनके सामने कुछ बताना इसलिए मैं खड़ा हुआ हूँ। सबसे पहले मैं विक्रम किर्लोस्कर और टोयोटा के चेयरमैन इनको धन्यवाद दूंगा, क्योंकि हमारे देश में पेट्रोल डीजल की कीमतें जो है आज, तो आपको हमारे पेट्रोलियम मिनिस्टर के चेहरे से समझ में आएगा कि उसका टेंशन कितना है। विशेष रूप से ये जो आज ग्रीन हाइड्रोजन की बात हो रही है, तो हम ब्राउन और ब्लैक हाइड्रोजन को तो इनकरेज नहीं करेंगे, पर ग्रीन हाइड्रोजन को इनकरेज करने के लिए पुरी साहब के पास एक बहुत अच्छा अवसर ऐसा है कि वो अर्बन मिनिस्ट्री के भी इंचार्ज हैं और पेट्रोलियम के भी है। और हमारे महानगरों में जो सीवेज वाटर है, जिसमें वैद्य साहब बैठे अभी, मैं वाटर रिसोर्सेज मंत्री था तो मैंने मथुरा में 80 mld स्लज को मथुरा के कन्वर्ट करके इंडियन ऑयल को बेचा, जिससे 20 करोड़ साल के मिलते हैं स्लज को बेचकर। तो मुझे आपसे यही कहना है कि ये जो म्यूनिसिपल कॉरपोरेशन और टाउनशिप में जो वाटर अवेलेबल है उसको रिसाइकलिंग करें, और सॉलिड वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट को सेग्रीगेट करने के लिए उसको बड़ा रूफटॉप लगेगा। तो रूफटॉप सोलर और विंड ये दोनों को कॉम्बिनेशन करके अगर सेग्रीगेशन होगा तो मेटल, ग्लास एंड प्लास्टिक इसका रिसाइकलिंग होगा, और ऑर्गेनिक वेस्ट से फिर मीथेन निकलेगा, और मीथेन से बायो LNG, बायो CNG भी बना पाएंगे, और मीथेन से हम लोग ग्रीन हाइड्रोजन भी बना पाएंगे। दूसरी ओर जो गंदा पानी है उसमें भी सीवेज का परसेंटेज होता है, वो भी बायोडाइजेस्टर में जाकर मीथेन निकलेगा। और ये जो शुद्ध पानी है, इसमें मेरा आपसे अनुरोध है कि आप अर्बन मिनिस्ट्री में ऐसी स्कीम तैयार करेंगे। तो अभी इलेक्ट्रोलाइज़र बेंगलोर में बना है, मैं वहाँ एक्चुअली इनॉग्रेशन के लिए जाने वाला था, कोविड के कारण नहीं जा पाया। उसकी कीमत भी कम है और अभी कॉम्पैक्ट और अच्छा बनेगा। तो ये जो गंदा पानी है इसको अच्छा करके उसको इलेक्ट्रोलाइज़र, और पावर कॉस्ट इसमें 70% पावर कॉस्ट है, तो ये रूप नहीं, कितना भी कम किए तो भी ये उतनी नहीं कम कर पाएंगे। तो आप अगर इसको रूफटॉप के साथ, और विंड मिल छोटी गुजरात में बनती है वो दे के, अगर हमने पावर कॉस्ट अगर कम की, 70% वही है, तो हमारा सपना है कि ये $1 पर किलो आए, तो ये आ सकता है। और क्योंकि ये वेस्ट टू वेल्थ वाली बात है, और इसमें अभी जैसे मैं नागपुर में मेरे कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी में सीवेज वाटर महाराष्ट्र सरकार को बेचता हूँ पावर जनरेशन के लिए, तो 325 करोड़ रुपए रॉयल्टी मिलती है हमको हर साल। तो वो पानी अभी हमारे पास सरप्लस है। तो आप ये स्कीम अगर बनाएंगे तो म्यूनिसिपल कॉरपोरेशन की इकोनॉमी बदलेगी, ग्रीन हाइड्रोजन तैयार होगा और कॉस्ट कम होगी, और स्वच्छ भारत अभियान भी सपना पूरा होगा और आत्मनिर्भर भारत भी पूरा होगा। यही बात मुझे आपको कहनी थी। और दूसरी एक बात अच्छी हुई है कि विक्रम किर्लोस्कर जी ने और इन्होंने मुझे प्रॉमिस किया है कि वो फ्लेक्स इंजन के बारे में हमने एडवाइजरी इशू की है। तो अभी इन्होंने इनकी कैमरी गाड़ी थी जो इलेक्ट्रिक और पेट्रोल ऐसी हाइब्रिड है, 40% इलेक्ट्रिसिटी चलते चलते गाड़ी तैयार करती है। तब उन्होंने फ्लेक्स इंजन विथ हाइब्रिड इलेक्ट्रिसिटी ऐसी तैयार करने का प्रॉमिस किया है। और ये अगर हो जाएगा तो 40% इलेक्ट्रिक और 60% इथेनॉल। और मैंने अभी बीच में वैद्य साहब के पास रशिया से साइंटिस्ट बुलाकर उन्होंने मुझे ये प्रूव करके दिखाया कि कैलोरिक वैल्यू ऑफ इथेनॉल एंड कैलोरिक वैल्यू ऑफ पेट्रोल सेम करेंगे। वो अभी सेम करने का इनको दिया। अनऑफिशियली मुझे पता चला कि वो टेक्नोलॉजी प्रूवन है, अब आगे का वो करेंगे। तो ये हो जाएगा तो उसके कारण भी हमारा पैसा बचेगा। तो फ्लेक्स इंजन अभी टोयोटो, सुजुकी और हुंडई तीनों ला रही है। तो ये होगा। आर.के. सिंह साहब ने, बहुत खुशी है मुझे कि उन्होंने ऑलरेडी हाइड्रोजन मिशन में बसेस और ये काफ़ी शुरू किया है। मैं उनको ऑफ़र करता हूँ कि मेरे रोड पर पूरे रोड तैयार है, आप चाहे उस दिशा में चले, मैं आपको इलेक्ट्रिक केबल डालने के लिए पूरा देता हूँ। पैसा आप लगे तो उनसे ले लेना मीटर से। तो पूरा इलेक्ट्रिक ट्रक, कल वॉल्वो के मेरे पास चेयरमैन आए थे, इलेक्ट्रिक ट्रक, इलेक्ट्रिक वो डबल बसेस वो भी चलेगी तो कॉस्ट कम होगी और हमारे लिए लोगों को उससे राहत मिलेगी। तो ज़रूर करिए। हेवी इंडस्ट्रीज मिनिस्टर जैसे उन्होंने आज ही मैंने पार्लियामेंट में जवाब दिया कि उनके कारण इलेक्ट्रिक का सेल इतना बढ़ा है क्योंकि अभी हमारे 1200% सेल बसेस का बढ़ा है और 2 व्हीलर 4 व्हीलर ऑटो रिक्शा का भी बढ़ा है। तो उनकी जो स्कीम है उसके कारण हुआ, उनको भी मैं धन्यवाद देता हूँ। और प्रधानमंत्री जी का भी सपना है कि कार्बन न्यूट्रलिटी के तरफ जाना है। तो मैं इन तीनों
other ethanol blend. So I think whenever you are with Gadkari ji, you can, he's a minister who's not only an activist, but he comes up with ideas also and he sets objectives. And I'm sure that RK and Pandey ji and I are always happy to follow. You will recall that the Prime Minister, speaking from the ramparts of the Red Fort on 15th August 2021, he said that we will adopt green hydrogen in mission mode. After that, हमारे बीच में कई meetings हुई हैं. I think RK Singh ji, me, all the other ministers, Niti Aayog, and I think we are at a stage where when that map was shown, which showed Japan, the United States on green, I think India will not only get there, but as it said, once India takes it on, India will also be both a critical driver of demand, and India will also be critical in terms of being able to develop that technology. During one of my first teleconversations with the Energy Secretary of the United States, we were already talking about 111. आपने बोला $1 cost for 1 kilo for 1 decade. And I think if you can persuade my very close friend and collaborator from my civil service days, sitting on your right, to bring the cost of power down, I think this is a win-win. We cannot but succeed in this because आपने एक सुझाव दिया कि हम अर्बन की हमारी योजनाएं जो हैं, खास करके हमारी जो grassroots level हैं, where you use sewage treatment and wastewater, etc., along with solar energy to produce cheaper energy, I am sure we will take that on. But in order to get the scale, no matter how we get it, if we get power at $1, the energy crisis is over. We are in a very interesting stage of the transition where we will, for a foreseeable future, for a country like India, which has a large demand for energy, our consumption is today way higher than the pre-COVID levels, as my colleagues in the oil industry keep telling me. And this is going to grow because India's per capita consumption is 1/3 of global consumption. And as India grows as an economy, 9% last year, 8% or 7.5% in the coming years, the energy consumption will grow. India will continue to be a critical driver of demand. Interestingly, and this to me is a very important point, whilst the need for traditional energy will be there, the investment that was required in traditional energy was not forthcoming because everybody's mindset shifted to new, green, sustainable energy. We support that, but equally, we also have to ensure that our consumer, who ultimately we have many developmental challenges, continues to be provided energy at affordable prices for the foreseeable future. I have many other things I would like to say. I would like to congratulate Toyota Kirloskar for the Toyota Mirai. I would also like to say that if you can make it a success, which I'm sure it will be after the pilot project, with Mr. Gadkari's blessings, this goes on. I think you sold, what, 18,000 units in the world? Yes, can I hazard a guess that with a little bit of effort, you can multiply that number in India alone? Provided we can get a few things right. We can get both the fuel part, we get other things right, and of course I always ask what is the price. But some of it in India will be, novelty value. People are going in for a new technology. But in India, marketing a successful product also requires a few other complementary factors to be put in place. I must say, I'm particularly pleased, and I have to run away, and you know for why I have to leave. We have a situation where today the Prime Minister took many initiatives. This green hydrogen in mission mode is one, but he had resolved that we would do ethanol blending. In 2014, when our government came in, the ethanol blending was only, I think, 1.4%. We had set ourselves a target. That target has been met at this point. We are already doing 9.2 or 10% ethanol blending. When I was in Brazil, and I'm talking about the year 2006 or 7, we had set ourselves a target of 15 states and union territories for 5% blending, and that was not forthcoming. Now we have moved from sugar to maize and other products. I'm confident that the 2030 target of 20% blending, which we have brought forward to 2025, will be met. The tenders we have floated shows the interest. So electric vehicles, ethanol blending, what we are doing in other related technologies, I'm confident. And in that context, this pilot project will be a great success. I want to congratulate all of you once again. और गडकरी जी बहुत-बहुत धन्यवाद, आपने मेरे को मौका दिया. He always blames me कि मैं सिविल सर्वेंट ज़्यादा देर रहा, पर मुझे कुछ वो पॉलिटिशियन वाली आदत हो गई है. माइक मेरे सामने दे दो, मैं थोड़ा ज़्यादा बोल जाता हूँ. बट बहुत-बहुत धन्यवाद. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Puriji, for sharing your foresight about the future and for the great steps that the ministry and the government is taking towards a sustainable future. Ladies and gentlemen, under the Honourable Minister of Power and New and Renewable Energy, Shri R.K. Singhji's leadership, the ministry has been taking great strides towards energy security with strong push on alternative fuels such as hydrogen and biofuels. Increase in the share of clean renewable energy and power, energy availability and access to rural, urban, industrial and commercial sectors along with energy affordability by cost competitive, convenient, safe and reliable new and renewable energy supply options. May I kindly invite Shri R.K. Singhji to share his valuable insights with us, sir. Ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Nitin Gadkari ji, the Honourable Minister for Road Transport and Highways, Mahendranath Pandey ji, the Honourable Minister for Department of Heavy Industry, Mr. Vikram Kirloskar, heading the Kirloskar Company, the President of Toyota Motors, our friend Junaid, Secretaries, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank Mr. Gadkari for organizing this and for calling us. But as Hardeep said, Nitin Gadkari ji, takes the initiative in almost all sectors, every sector. He keeps thinking, he keeps coming up with original ideas. And those ideas are such that if you adopt them, you advance a number of steps forward. In the field of communications, road construction, I think he's done something which all his predecessors have not been able to do. The pace of construction of roads has gone up manifold. I can say so, that's happened in my constituency, in my state, but that's happening throughout the country. Now we come back to today's launch. Again, something which Mr. Gadkari has taken the lead. Now I can tell you that he is passionate about energy transition. Well, not only him, our government is passionate about energy transition. Our Prime Minister is passionate about energy transition. As you heard, our per capita emissions are 1/3 of the world average. Our per capita energy consumption is also about 1/3 of the world average. But despite that, we have the fastest rate of growth of renewable energy capacity in the world. Now that is because we take environment seriously. Our government takes environment seriously. Our Prime Minister takes environment seriously. He bought renewables, he bought solar when it was 18 rupees per unit. Today it is 1.99 rupee per unit. And he said that unless we start buying solar at 18 rupees per unit, it will never come down to where it is now. It would never have come down to where it is now. We started the transition in lighting to LED when an LED bulb used to cost about 450 rupees to 550 rupees. Today it is 70 rupees because we started that transition and because we took up this on a large scale, on a massive scale. And just this LED program alone has resulted in a reduction of CO2 emissions of 113 million tons of CO2 emissions every year. Just the LED program. What we have done in our energy transition is actually defies description. We believe that we have to leave behind a healthier planet for our grandchildren, great-grandchildren. We had pledged that by 2030, 40% of our capacity power generation capacity will come from non-fossil fuel sources. We achieved this in November 21. That is full 9 years ahead. And as I said, our rate of growth of renewable energy capacity remains the fastest in the world and will remain so. Again, we have upped our ambition and we have said that by 2030, we will install 500 gigawatts of non-fossil fuel capacity. 500 gigawatts. Now that will result in the present percentage of fossil fuel capacity coming down from the present about the 70%, 80%. That will lead to our fossil fuel capacity coming down to 35%. In fact, less than 35%. Our fossil fuel capacity will come down to 33% in 2030. We have emerged as the most attractive destination for investment in renewables. We have an aggressive program for electric mobility. All this, because we believe that this environment needs attention, the environmental problem needs addressing. Now, this mobility, clean mobility is one step towards that. As I said, energy transition includes transition in electricity, which we are doing. And 40% we've already reached. I think we'll cross the 70% by about 2030 from non-fossil fuels. But the other sector which we have to address is mobility. Now, mobility, we are technology agnostic. We are not going to play any favorites with electrical mobility and hydrogen mobility. So it's a competition. Whichever type of mobility wins, we are fine. We are changing we are greening our electricity. So even if it is electrical mobility, it will still be green. And we are greening our electricity under rapid pace. But hydrogen mobility is something, has an advantage which electrical mobility does not have. And that's the fast charging. And also the lightweight. Now, while electrical mobility is okay for two-wheelers, three-wheelers and four-wheelers, for light vehicles, for personal mobility. But if you talk about long distance, heavy mobility, heavy haulage, then the battery has a disadvantage because of its huge weight and the long time taken for charging it. There, hydrogen has the advantage. Now, I have already put my, as I said, our Prime Minister has already announced, as Hardeep told you and Mr. Gadkari told you, our Prime Minister announced a hydrogen mission on the 15th of August, 2021. We have come out with a set of orders for facilitating that. And we are going to come out with another set of orders for facilitating that. Now, one of the orders which I am going to come out with will actually make the price of power come down. Now, the price of power is more for industry because of cross-subsidy. State governments, we have a democracy. All the state governments are elected. The price of electricity is something which is very sensitive politically. So they want to keep the price of electricity, at least for the poorer sections, down. And they subsidize part of it or most of it by increasing the prices of electricity for the industrial and the commercial sectors. So that is cross-subsidy for you. And that is what keeps the price of power high. I keep telling the states that you keep the price of power for industry high and the power for the cost of power for commerce high, then your rate of growth will slow down. But somehow or the other, probably political compulsions, trump the long-term rate of growth. But hopefully we'll get the message across. But I have worked out a way of circumventing this, and that is open access. So what we are providing, and that order will come out in a few days, is that anybody, any industry, can set up renewable energy capacity anywhere in the country. We will give you a free transmission to where you need to consume it for making green hydrogen. Free transmission. We will also give you banking. Now that will bring down your cost of power to, let us say, 2 rupees or 2 rupees 15 paise per unit. Now that will be, less than, will be just about 2 or 2.5 US cents to a dollar. I don't think power will be cheaper than that in any part of the country. So, if you are talking about 2 rupees 15 paise per unit for electricity, how many US dollar cents is that? If you take it at 75 rupees, I think 2.5, maybe 3 US dollar cents. That's it. In no other country will you get electricity at $3. So that is that will encourage hydrogen production. And we are also going to put mandates. We believe that to proceed to reduction of emissions. Incidentally, reduction of emissions is again something in which we have taken the lead. We had pledged that by 2030 we will reduce the emissions intensity of our GDP by 33 to 35%. In 2020, when we measured it, we had already reduced it by 28%. And as I said, I mean, we have huge programs which are carrying out the reduction. One I told you about this lighting, LED. The other is for the industry, perform achieve trade, a reduction of 103 million tons of CO2 emissions per annum, just in its third cycle. And we've started, the 3 other cycles which are ongoing. Our appliances program, a reduction of 53 million tons of CO2 per annum. Now, these are the emissions which we have achieved. And that's why we are a world leader. We are the only country, only major economy, whose actions are consonant with a sub-2-degree rise in global temperature. I mean, the Western countries keep talking about environment, but they've done precious nothing compared to what we have done. Despite the fact that, their emissions, per capita emissions are 6 times the world average and our per capita emissions are 1/3 of the world average. Despite that, we are the only major economy whose actions are consonant with a sub-2-degree rise in temperature. So that is because we believe in it. Our Prime Minister believes in it. Our leaders believe in it. And we shall continue to be the leader in energy transition. And for that, this is necessary, especially for long-haul transport, especially for heavy transport. Incidentally, I have asked some of my companies to start work on it. So I have given the target to NTPC to start hydrogen buses, hydrogen bus services, super deluxe hydrogen bus services from Delhi to Jaipur and Delhi to Agra. And I have also given them the task to start hydrogen mobility in Ladakh. We plan to have a totally green Ladakh. We will be, of course, generating about 10,000 megawatts, 10 gigawatts of renewable energy capacity in Ladakh. And we planned the evacuation. That evacuation is also expensive. And, that evacuation will come with almost about 4,000 megawatt hours of storage as well. So it will be round-the-clock green energy coming out of Ladakh. And 4,000 megawatt of hours of storage is huge. The largest size of storage presently installed in the world, 250 megawatt hours. Only 250 megawatt. And we have again come out with a bid for 1,000 megawatt hours of storage for power here, which we shall install for our national load dispatch center, for ancillary services. We are leading, and we shall lead in green hydrogen as well. So as I said, we are going to put mandates on the petroleum industry. They use a lot of grey hydrogen, so that grey hydrogen will be replaced by green hydrogen. We are going to place a mandate on the fertilizer industry. They use a lot of grey ammonia, and so that grey ammonia has to be replaced by green ammonia. And in that also, I mean, the size of our bids are going to be huge. You see, we are a large country, so any bid which we do, I mean, as in battery, will be, one of the largest in the world. So my first bid for green hydrogen will require a electrolyzer capacity of 8,800 megawatts. Now, that much of manufacturing capacity does not exist in the world as yet. So we'll have to make it here. And we have some companies which already have the electrolyzer technology. So I am sanguine. I am sanguine that we'll have electrolyzer made in India for making green hydrogen here. And we intend to emerge as the exporting hub for green hydrogen. So for us, it is to the future. We look to the future and we look to lead the rest of the world into the future in the energy transition. Thank you very much. Congratulations to Toyota and Kirloskar.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for, of course, being very proactive in what you're doing for green electricity and, of course, green mobility. The steps you have taken to cut down the cost of electricity and, of course, for the future, which looks absolutely beautiful with the kind of targets which are being achieved before the envisioned time. Thank you for that. Ladies and gentlemen, under the leadership of the Honourable Minister of Heavy Industries, Shri Mahendranath Pandeyji, the Ministry maintains a constant dialogue with industry, its associations and encourages initiatives for the growth of the industry. schemes and recently introduced PLI schemes by the ministry are strong examples of some of the important policy interventions by the ministry with Shri Pandeyji's leadership. I take this opportunity to request Shri Pandeyji to kindly share his insights, say a few words to our esteemed gathering. Let's have a huge round of applause for the Honourable Minister.
आज फ्यूल सेल इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल्स से जुड़े इस टोयोटा मिराई की लॉन्चिंग के मौके पर माननीय गडकरी जी के इस आवास पर आदरणीय श्री नितिन जयराम गडकरी जी, श्री आर.के. सिंह जी, अभी हम सबके बीच पुरी जी गए, श्री विक्रम किर्लोस्कर जी और श्री एम यशुमुरा जी, और भारत सरकार के विश्व बैंक से जुड़े सभी उच्च अधिकारीगण तथा अन्य सभी अधिकारी, मीडिया के बंधु, आज इस मौके पर माननीय गडकरी जी ने अपने संक्षिप्त संबोधन में शुरू में ही इस विजन पर अपनी रोशनी डाली। आर.के. सिंह जी ने, पुरी जी ने बात कही, मैं उस बात को आगे बढ़ाते हुए हम सबको खुशी है कि लाल किले से जो आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने हाइड्रोजन मिशन का जो संकल्पना दी देश को और भारत को इस एनर्जी फील्ड में, उस पर बहुत तेज़ी से काम हो रहा है और आज का ये आयोजन उसमें एक बड़ी महत्वपूर्ण कड़ी है। मैं इस मौके पर टोयोटा मिराई अपने आप में, जो मेरी जानकारी के मुताबिक मिराई मीन्स भविष्य, फ्यूचर, जापानी भाषा के इस शब्द का जो भाषांतर, जो अर्थ है, तो जीवन के भविष्य के लिए एक शानदार पहल है। मेरा डिपार्टमेंट भी इसमें काफ़ी तेज़ी से इस दिशा में इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल्स पर, ई मोबिलिटी पर काम कर रहा है। मुझे माननीय गडकरी जी के प्रेजेंस में ये बताने में बेहद खुशी हो रही है। आर.के. सिंह जी ने भी उस बात पर बल दिया और मैं शुरू से इस पर बल दे रहा हूँ, ई मोबिलिटी पर। और भारत सरकार ने इस फील्ड में, ऑटो फील्ड के आत्मनिर्भर कंसेप्ट को लेकर जो चीज़ें आगे बढ़ाई हैं, और माननीय मोदी जी ने जो COP26 में ग्रीन एनर्जी के बारे में जो वचनबद्धता दुनिया को दी है, भारत को जो उत्साह दिया है, उसमें हमने जो PLI स्कीम लॉन्च की है, मुझे बताने में बेहद खुशी है कि इंडस्ट्री ने उसका वेलकम किया है और आशा से दोगुना उसमें रिस्पांस आया है। ये अभी मुझे बताने में बेहद खुशी है, क्योंकि उससे जुड़ी एक हायर जेंट्री यहाँ उपस्थित है कि हमने 42-43 हज़ार करोड़ के इन्वेस्टमेंट की अपेक्षा की थी और 75,000 करोड़ का इन्वेस्टमेंट हमें वेलकम करता हूँ। तो इस दिशा में हम लोग काम कर रहे हैं और मेरा डिपार्टमेंट ई मोबिलिटी पर, ग्रीन एनर्जी के इस एस्पेक्ट पर बहुत तेज़ी से काम कर रहा है और आगे भी दृढ़ता से उसको करता हुआ आगे इस काम में योगदान करेगा। हाइड्रोजन का जहाँ तक कंसेप्ट है, उसमें आज की ये जो पहल है उसके संग हम अपना सपोर्ट देते हुए, और गडकरी साहब हम सबको निरंतर नए नए आइडियाज के साथ हमेशा, मैं तो कभी कभी सोचता हूँ गडकरी जी वर्तमान में हर क्षण भविष्य के लिए सोचते रहते हैं। आज के इस आयोजन में काफ़ी देर से सब लोग ये विषय चल रहा है और एमओयूज़ के लिए अपनी शुभकामना देता हूँ जो एमओयूज़ यहाँ उपस्थित हुआ। मैं थोड़ा सांस्कृतिक से जुड़ा हुआ व्यक्ति हूँ, तो मैंने ये देखा कि ये जीवन के लिए, आज जीवन के लिए, जीवन के तत्वों से ये चीज पहल की जा रही है। हमारे विद्वानों ने, ऋषियों ने कहा, क्षितिजल पावक गगन समीरा, पंच तत्व ते बना शरीरा। ये पंच तत्व की शरीर इस धरती पर अच्छे से कायम रहे, संरक्षित हो, ये पंच महाभूत कायम रहे, धरती से विनष्ट न हो, इसके लिए नई नई एनर्जी परिकल्पनाएं में हाइड्रोजन एनर्जी में वो सब चीजें आती हैं। क्षितिजल पावक गगन, ऊर्जा लाने के लिए इसमें वायु भी है, जल भी है, क्षितिज भी है, और इस सबके सम्मिश्रण से जो एनर्जी निकलती है, मैं समझता हूँ कि हाइड्रोजन एनर्जी उस कंसेप्ट को, हमारे ऋषि मुनियों की सोच को आगे बढ़ाता है। और भारत ने हमेशा देश और दुनिया को जीवन दर्शन दिया है। हाइड्रोजन मिशन भी भारत सहित दुनिया को एक बेहतर जीवन देने में सहायक होगा। अब मैं अपनी शुभकामना देते हुए इस अभियान के संग अपनी ई मोबिलिटी के अपने अभियानों को बल देते हुए अपने डिपार्टमेंट से पूरे सपोर्ट के साथ बहुत बहुत शुभकामना, सबके प्रति सम्मान।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपका श्री महेंद्रनाथ पांडे जी, एक ग्रीन मोबिलिटी को सपोर्ट करने के लिए, इसमें इन्वेस्ट करने के लिए और हाइड्रोजन एज अ फ्यूल को आगे ले जाने के लिए। और इसी के साथ में धन्यवाद एक बार फिर से करना चाहूँगी श्री नितिन गडकरी जी का, जिन्होंने यहाँ पे अपनी इंसाइट शेयर करी। नहीं सर, थोड़ा सा बचा है बस, जस्ट अ वेरी स्मॉल पोर्शन। Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to felicitate Shri Junaid Kamal Ahmed ji, India Country Director, South Asia World Bank. I'll request Shri Vikram Gulati ji to kindly do the honors. आप लोगों की तालियों के बीच, of course. Shri Shrikant Vaidya ji, Chairman, Indian Oil Corporation Limited. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, now of course with all our respected dignitaries on stage, we would like to capture this moment and we'll request you for a photo op sir on stage and then another photo op next to of course the futuristic Mirai. हाँ जी sir, जी sir. Ladies and gentlemen, the event is not over. We'll request you to kindly be seated. It's just a photo op which is happening right now on stage. We'll have another photo op next to the futuristic Toyota Mirai. Ladies and gentlemen, we request you to be patient. All our media personnel who are here with us. The honorable ministers are here only, so don't worry about it. We still have the event going on. For the media personnel who are seated in front, you can obviously witness whatever is happening on screen as well, just for your kind reference. All our personnel from media will request our friends from media to kindly settle down. I'll request the honorable ministers and our key dignitaries who are at the white Mirai to kindly proceed towards the blue Mirai, which is at the back, for a brief technology explanation and of course an experiential drive. And I'll be requesting our friends from the media to kindly settle down. In the meantime, they'll be doing an experiential drive and will be back here itself. And then of course we all can enjoy lunch together. Well, we are heading now along with the honorable ministers and our key dignitaries towards the blue Mirai at the back for a brief technology explanation and an experiential drive. And Mr. Kirloskar will be driving while this experiential drive will take place, making it even more special for all of us. I'll request our friends from the media to kindly settle down. Please be seated.
Hello.
नमस्कार सर। तो सर, अब आप इसके बारे में बहुत कुछ जानते हैं, लेकिन इसमें सिलेंडर्स जो लगाए गए हैं, ये 3 सिलेंडर हैं जिसमें कि हाइड्रोजन है और इसके अंदर सिलेंडर इस तरीके से प्लेस किए गए हैं जिससे कि सेफ्टी की पूरा ध्यान रखा गया है कि इसमें किसी भी प्रकार का डैमेज नहीं हो। ये बुलेट प्रूफ सिलेंडर हैं, तो इसमें किसी भी प्रकार का सेफ्टी का कोई भी इसमें परेशानी नहीं है। और उसके अलावा भी इसमें सेंसर्स लगे हुए हैं जिससे कि कभी भी कोई परेशानी हो तो इमीडिएटली पूरा सिस्टम बंद हो जाता है। इसमें ऑनबोर्ड इलेक्ट्रिसिटी जनरेट होती है, तो यहाँ से हाइड्रोजन जाके इसके अंदर ऑनबोर्ड इलेक्ट्रिसिटी जनरेट होती है जिसके द्वारा कि मोटर के द्वारा ये गाड़ी चलती है। पीछे बैटरी है जो कि 1.4 किलोवाट आवर की है, जो कि इससे 30 गुना कम है, अपनी जैसे इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल रहता है उससे 30 गुना कम है। और ये जो है 650 किलोमीटर एक सिलेंडर फिलिंग पे, जिसमें कि 5.6 किलोग्राम की हाइड्रोजन भरी जाती है, ये चलती है। और इसमें हाइड्रोजन का प्रयोग केवल इस गाड़ी के लिए नहीं बल्कि ट्रक और बसेस और रेलवेज सबके लिए किया जा सकता है, और इसमें स्पेशली जेनसेट भी हम इसमें कर सकते हैं, तो ये काफ़ी वायबल हो सकती है। मेन चीज़ ये है सर कि इसमें हाइड्रोजन और इलेक्ट्रिसिटी दोनों कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री है। हाइड्रोजन से इलेक्ट्रिसिटी और इलेक्ट्रिसिटी से हाइड्रोजन बन सकती है। इस तरीके से हम रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी को जो है वो पूर्ण तरीके से यूज़ कर सकते हैं। तो
हाँ, जनरेटर सेट में अगर जब कॉम्प्रेस करेंगे इसको आफ्टर सर्टन बार तक, तो ये जो जनरेटर सेट है वो जो हाइड्रोजन तैयार हो रहा है उसी पे चल सकता है क्या?
हाँ जी बिल्कुल, ये जो हाइड्रोजन है ये उसी हाइड्रोजन के ऊपर जनरेटर सेट भी चल सकता है सर।
Well, after that technology briefing, of course, it's time now for the experiential drive, which will be absolutely mesmerizing, I believe, with our honorable ministers. And of course, Mr. Kirloskar will be driving this absolute beauty. It couldn't have been a better venue than this to host something like this, and we are extremely grateful to Shri Nitin Gadkari ji for letting us host this our Mirai, the futuristic Toyota Mirai, at his residence. And there it is, Mr. Kirloskar in the driver's seat, Shri Nitin Gadkari ji right next to him, our honorable ministers seated at the back, and of course we'll request our media to kindly give them some room so that they can go on the experiential drive, and they will be back shortly. So we'll request you to kindly make room for the vehicle to move. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for making way for the futuristic Toyota Mirai. This is how we step into the future. Thank you very much for putting your hands together. We have the Honorable Minister Dr. Mahendra Nath Pandey ji and Shri R.K. Singh ji seated at the back. While the Honourable Ministers take their experiential drive, we'll request everyone else to kindly take a seat. Please be seated. Once they are back, we will be, of course, opening lunch as well, and we'll be inviting you for the same. For now, you can kindly settle down.